Servus and hello, my name is Fireball313 and this is a new episode of Beyond the Game. Like you guys know, this channel is about retail games, and so I present some awesome items. And the first title what I want to show is Vanquish for the PlayStation 3. And if you guys ask me why I want to show this, actually I think it's obviously, you can see it already, because we have an interesting retail version. This is the first print, and this one came out in, let me think, October 2010, and it came with this paper sleeve. And on top of this paper sleeve, you have this 3D image. And I don't know, because I look through the screen of my camera and I can see this 3D effect. I hope he recorded this as well, and this is awesome. And because this is my tradition always when I have this kind of 3D images, I must do it like that. You know, can you guys hear that? I love that. Yeah. Vanquish was a very interesting title back then in 2010 for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 and the PC, because you had a lot of cover-based shooters like Gears of War, Uncharted, yes. And this game did a little bit different, because yeah, it had an active cover system, but you moved a lot or you slide a lot, what you can see here on this image, and here you can see this also. This is a very stylish cover-based shooter. If I would give it a description, I would say this is an arcade action cover shooter. This game got produced by Platinum Games, and they are famous for their over-the-top presentation. Yeah, and this game got published by Sega. And yeah, you don't believe it. I mean, I'm not a huge Sega fan. I never was. But sometimes I even buy some games from Sega, let's say, like that. Yeah. And this is quite funny. I mean, this is the first batch of a retail version, and this is not a special edition at all. This is just the normal game. But yeah, but it's so cool. I love that, you know. I really miss this with the PlayStation 5 generation now, or PlayStation 4. You don't have this so often. For example, Steel Diver for the Nintendo 3DS had a 3D image, I can remember, and Lord of the Ring, The War in the North had one, but that was on PlayStation 3 also. So till this point, I think you don't have one, I mean, this 3D image for the PlayStation 4 or even PlayStation 5. Yes. If you are interested in this game, I mean, if you love really over the top action, you know, and silly story and campy dialogue, then this game is for you. If you just play it for the action, you know, and you want to be more strategic, you know, then just stick with Gears of War. This is really over the top cover-based shooter mechanics with awesome, and you know, awesome graphical presentation. But you can see this, the console, the PlayStation 3 especially, is struggling with this game, because it runs just with a native 720p with 30 frames per second, and it can keep up with the action, because you have so many particle effects and the movement is so fast and enemies are shooting a lot. You have a lot of stuff what is happening on the screen, and the console is struggling. And I don't know if it's because of bad programming or just is the hardware not strong enough, because you saw with Bayonetta, that was a lousy port on the PlayStation, because this was first an Xbox game and they ported it later to the on the PlayStation. I don't know how this is with Vanquish. Yes. If you want to buy this game now used, you get it for the PlayStation 3 version already for €9 with this 3D image. If you are lucky, the Xbox 360 version is a little bit more expensive, it's around €12. Yeah, at least I had a lot of fun with this game, and soon I want to look at the content what comes with the normal edition. But there was an updated version for the PlayStation 4. I just want to tell you this, guys. This came out a couple of years ago. That is the 10th anniversary bundle of Bayonetta and Vanquished. And these are, they claim it here, these are remastered. I would tell you more or less these are straight ports from the PC version, you know. So, and here is Vanquished in the way you should play it with 60 frames and full HD. I must admit, I'm not a huge fan about Bayonetta, so I didn't play so much this one, but I played this from the end till from the beginning till the end, and I noticed some graphical hiccups, you know, and that especially with the shadow drops on the ground of the characters. They're very, very rough. You can basically see all the pixels, you know, and that is really, really bad remastering, let's call it like that. Yeah, but you get this one already for something like 10-12 euro. And both these games, I think, should be played on the PlayStation 4 because of better performance. Because Bayonetta is a very fast game also, and it runs on the PlayStation 4 at least on 60 frames. I don't know about the Xbox version. So yeah, but let's look at the original version on the PlayStation 3 and what it tells us on the back. An epic third-person science fiction action shooter from the critically acclaimed game director Shinji Mikami. That is the father of Resident Evil, by the way. Yeah, become the ultimate weapon with an unrivaled battlesuit combining deadly firepower with superhuman speed and agility. Yeah, and that's really the name of the game. Superhuman speed and agility. Sometimes it's really too fast even, you know. It's a little bit, I would say this is almost Gears of War with Wipeout, because you're sliding like crazy and this goes so fast, you know. Sometimes it's hard really to aim because you are really sliding all over the ground, you know, so crazy. By the way, I bought this game back then when it came out. No, it used actually at GameStop. You can see this here on the sticker. It's really hard to get rid of this sticker, you know, because they are really, I don't know what kind of adhesives they use, but it's hard to get off. And I don't want to destroy this paper sleeve. I mean, it's quite solid, but I think if I scratch this off here, it will take off all these coatings here. Yeah. So this is the paper sleeve, and it's okay. I would like to have it a little bit solid. The good thing is about the front is they glued this 3D image on top, so it gives it here some steady things, you know, so it's stable. So this is what I mean. Yeah, and the original game looks like this, you know, so, and you don't have this 3D image, you know, so you can see the difference. Yeah, and the back says actually the same. Yeah, and when you open it, you get an awesome already retail experience because, I mean, yes, it's all the same image, but at least it's something with an alternative cover. If you now compare it a couple of years later with this one, boy, check this out. I mean, serious, this is boring. This is really just boring. It's just a game, no manual, no nothing. You know, this is, like I always say, this is our future. You know, I like the comparison from back then. And then look now, this is PlayStation 3, this is PlayStation 4, you know, so sad. Would be nice if you had here a manual, you know, what tells you a little bit about Bayonetta and Vanquish. And yeah, and here, on the PlayStation 3, you get the full retail experience. So awesome. And let me take first out the game, because you have a transparent packaging, and so you have a cool artwork, you know. It's a little bit too much even, you know. If you put the game and the menu back in the game, it's a little bit, you open it and it's like, woof, immediately in the face, you know. So I mean, I'm happy that it's not a white background, but I would choose maybe a different motive cover, something like that. But looks awesome. Yes. Then of course the game on a Blu-ray, just a single layer Blu-ray, and it's unfortunately the same artwork like this one. You know, would be cool if they would choose something different. Yes, and let's look at the manual, because the manual is quite straightforward. And what you get is just explanation about the main menu. I mean, there's no secrets about that. And here's the introduction, you know. And this is your main character, you know. He's so silly and and he is one of your companions. And I remember even you can play this game even in co-op, I believe, right? But I'm not sure. Wait, 1 second. What tells the... No, it's actually just... I thought this was co-op. Okay, so maybe I mean a different game. Yeah. This is then here the RIS, the battle suit system, you know, because you can slide, you can manipulate even time, then everything is bullet hell stuff. And this use a lot of energy, so you must take care of that. Otherwise, the armor, the suit will overheat. That is sometimes a problem. Yes, and here you have some characters. From the game, for example, I think this is one of the main enemies. Yes, and here is your button layout. I always like that, you know, to see that's at least the standard configuration, you know. So, and here are about how you change the weapon, how you can add new weapons, because you have sometimes some weapon caches, you know, you find them everywhere, you know. Sometimes even it's even funny that you find them straight before you have an end boss or something, you know. You have different kind of grenades. In this case, it's quite a standard cover-based shooter in this case. Yeah, and it's quite easy. You press a button next to a cover, and then your character leans to it, and it really glues, you know, to the surface of this cover, you know. And then of course you have the ability to boost if you press L2, and then you really boost through the level structure, and that is quite funny, you know. And here they tell you what you can even do. For example, you can do cover, you can exit the cover, then you roll, or for example, you can jump over, but you can move from cover to cover. That is possible also, yes. And so if you want, let's say, really an over-the-top action game, then Vanquish is your kind of game, yes. This is really just, the story is just there, you know, to keep you moving from one location to the next. Yeah, here they explain about the game structure, the checkpoint system, then the game screen itself with the small radar. Normally you don't need this. You can use 4 weapons, just one standard weapon. This is the pistol or something, then a shotgun or maybe minigun, something like that. And then of course, 2 type of grenades, yes. And the RR mode is that you can do bullet time, let's call it like that. Yes. And then here's the armory at the end. And for example, you get, of course, points when you finish the game. It's a little bit like a card shooter almost. Yeah. So, yeah, straightforward manual. And it is, of course, in several languages. One of the reasons why it is so thick. More or less, you are finished with, let me see, 16 pages. And yeah, and so this is basically the manual. So yeah, and I love that. I always love that, you know. And before I play a game, I always read the manual, you know, because this is part of the experience. I'm used to that, and it's nice, and it gives me some insight what sometimes even the game doesn't tell you, you know. And yeah, and I like that. So, but if you want a recommendation, what is the best experience if you want to play Vanquish, then I would go with the PlayStation 4 version with the 10th anniversary bundle. Especially, it's almost the same price like this one, and then you get 2 games, you know. Of course, if you want to collect this game just because of the 3D image, then yeah, you can do nothing wrong. You know, go for it, you know. And it's still an awesome title. And I mean, it's not, I mean, back then that was really a very polished game, it looked really awesome. Now, of course, a little bit outdated, especially the storyline and the dialogue. But if you want non-stop action, then Vanquish is your game to go. Just some minutes ago, I admit I'm not a huge Sega fan, but when this game got announced, I really had to buy one version, and that is Streets of Rage 4. Yes. I never had a Sega Mega Drive or Genesis, how it called in America. I didn't play so much Sega games back then in the 16-bit era. What I bought on the PlayStation 3 was the Sega Mega Drive collection, something. Then you have 40 titles. And then for the first time I played Streets of Rage 1 and 2. And I remember, of course, that was the competition. You know, you had, because side-scroll beaten-ups was back then state of the art. So you had Streets of Rage for Sega Mega Drive, and you had Final Fight for the Super Nintendo. And yeah, and many people praise especially Streets of Rage 2, and I played this also, yes, back then on the PlayStation 3, not on the original Mega Drive. Yeah, and it was really a good game with an awesome soundtrack. Yeah, and because I was grown up with this kind of gameplay, you know, side-scroll beaten up type of games, I was looking forward for a retail version. Especially, I mean, on the digital market you have many indie titles, but still a retail release of a side-scroll beaten up you don't see so often. And so because I love the genre and the series is not so bad, I thought, why not give it a try, you know? And yeah, and this is the standard version. So the first batch back then. Later there came an updated version with new content, new characters, and new levels. Yeah, and this is basically a continuation of the series with new graphical style. Not, I heard on the internet many fans didn't like this kind of presentation, but I really love that. This handmade anime comic design, really, you can see it here on the screenshots. I love the presentation. When they released the first trailer, I thought, wow, this looks incredible. Normally, I'm not so a huge fan of graphical presentation. For me, the gameplay, the atmosphere is important. But here, this is really eye candy for me. Yes. The developer was .emu, I think, yes, they call. And I remember even when I bought this game in 2020, I paid €35. So if you want to have it sealed, something like that, it's the same price. Used, you get it for 30. And what is interesting, you get some awesome goodies, even if this is a standard version. Yeah, and already I like the artwork. Looks cool, looks really cool. Yes, and here they tell you already what is inside, and you get an art booklet and a key ring. Yeah, some basic information is that you have, wait, no, I think they even claim this here on the back. Yes, the comeback of the legendary Streets of Rage series. 2 online players, up to 4 locally. I don't know why they couldn't do this, achieve this, I mean, 4-player online, why it was not possible. What was the limitations, I would like to know. 17 playable characters, including 12 in pixel art beauty, fully hand-drawn animated graphic, classic gameplay enhanced with brand new mechanics, 12 unique stages, new game modes. Yeah, and later there was an updated version even in the store, in the retail store, what adds more stuff, you know, on just the basic game. Yeah, but what is really nice, this is really a couch co-op game what you can play with 4 people. And yeah, it's simple, it's fun, it's awesome, you know, so no complaints about this game. And the feel, I mean, of course the graphic is a little bit different, but there is still this Streets of Rage feel inside of this game, at least from my point of view. Yeah, but what do you get with the retail version? And that is quite something, because let me take this out. And the first thing what I want to show is you have an alternative cover. They don't mention this. So let me take this out first. This is the standard cover, like I showed you guys. And this is the alternative version. And this looks so cool also. Nice. I love it. I really love it. And I like from the background, the backside, sorry, I like the design even more than this one. This is a little bit crowded, I think. This is more slick, I think, yes. And let's put this back in the packaging so we can see how it looks then. Wait. Be careful. Shame on you. On me. And then it looks like this. Wait, it's not perfect yet. So now this is a yellow color, you know, and then you have more colors here, and this is more black and white, almost a little bit simpler design. I even like this more than the yellow one. Yes, so cool. So you get this, then you get, of course, a game on a Blu-ray. The print is okay. A little bit basic because you see some skyscrapers, some houses in the background. It would be nicer if you had more more characters, maybe some action here, something like that. But this is a minor complaint. Yeah, then you get your health warranty bullshit thingy. Yeah, like always. And I have even the receipt, and I paid, you guys can see it, 35 euro. I bought it in Nijmegen, that is in my neighborhood. And then here there is a local video game store where I buy most of my games, you know. So really good store with a huge collection, yeah, by the way. And then you get a keychain. And this keychain looks so awesome. So cute. Yes, I don't want to open it. So looks nice. I love the design of the logo. Yes, really cool. It's flexible plastic, by the way, if you guys want to know this. Yes, and then this looks like a manual, but this is just an art book. And this is a small complaint also, because I would like to have a manual with this game. What explains the storyline, the basic maneuvers, the special moves, and all this stuff. So what you just get is images, you know, from animations of your character, from Axel, from Adam, for example. By the way, cool split kick or something. Yeah. Wait. Okay, now you guys can see it a little bit better. So, and then Blaze is in character, what you can choose, and Sherry. She has a guitar. I love the presentation. Yes, really love that. That is Floyd, I think. Victoria is that. Yes, and this is Sugar. She looks funny. You have some of the enemies, what you can see. These guys with the shields are really pain in the ass, because first you need to get down their shields, you know, to damage them. Big Ben. But it's nice that you have a huge variety of enemies, not just the standard enemies, you know, like this karate guy, you know. So they have personality. They really have personality, and I love that with a side-scroll beaten up. I don't like when you have some kind of clone army, you know, what is on the screen with you, and the characters look the same. Just the color difference is no, I have to say different. You have 4 enemies, you know, next to you, and one looks the same. All looks the same, but the one has red hair, the other one has green hair or something, and that's it, you know. This is really lazy, you know. So yeah, awesome. Cool art book, you know, art manual, I don't know. And that is nice that they include this, and I'm happy for that. But a normal manual, you know, with information, special moves, and all that stuff, and maybe some artwork in the back of this manual, that I would love to see, you know. But this is a complaint on a high standard. Okay, awesome. Video game, of course. I really can recommend that, you know, if you love this kind of gameplay, and I love the effort what they put just in a 35 euro game, you know, with all the goodies. So thumbs up. With game number 3, I wanted just to talk about R-Type Final 2, because I have the inaugural Flight Edition and I'm a huge fan of this series. And then I forget actually that I have also the Deluxe Edition of R-Type Final 3. I thought, you know what, I just finish this episode now with the R-Type Final series, because you have 3 games. And that started actually back on the PlayStation 2. So I thought, you know what, first we look at R-Type Final 1, and then we look at the inaugural Flight Edition, and then we look at the Deluxe Edition of R-Type Final 3. Yeah. 2004 was a sad year for me because Irem, the makers of R-Type, announced that would be the last game of this series because they saw no new potential, in the genre actually, especially in the West. Still, this day, a side-scroll shooter like R-Type, Gradius, and these kind of games are still popular in Japan, in the arcades. But here, unfortunately, these games are not so popular anymore. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge collector of these kind of games. I have a lot of R-Type games, and and I love the mechanics, the slow pacement, the tactical thinking with the forces, where if you attach it in front and back, the different weapons. So for the last game, Irem really put a lot of effort, and they that was so crazy. I remember when I saw this trailer, they showed this. You can collect 100 different ships with different force powers and different weapon types and mines and grenades, and I thought this is crazy. So this is basically a Pokemon game just in the shooting mechanic, because when you move through the levels and certain goals you are required, and then you can add some new ship to your museum, and you can even, I think you can put them on some kind of short list, and before you start a new round in the game, you can choose one of 5, and then you can try to finish the game. And with every ship, the game plays different, because every ship has a different force, power, and different weapon types, and that is really, really cool. So this was a high point. Back then, that was really an awesome title, and I was sad and happy at the same time, because this was for me back then the best R-Type game ever, next to R-Type 3 on the Super Nintendo. And technically, I thought this was the best looking game from this series. And this of course came just in a standard version here in the West. It's the PAL version, of course. And the front looks like this. I saw on the internet there was an alternative cover also, but I don't like this so much. Here you see more ships, in the background, and I love this. And this is the R9, of course, one of my favorites. And what is quite funny is all of them not just have a number, they have special nicknames also, and some of them are really, really funny. Really funny. The back looks like that, and here they tell you already that you have a massive fleet of 99 unique crafts. Not completely unique. You have, for example, the R9 is one of the major chips, and then you have some small variations, an R9 Plus or something, or R9 2, what is an enhanced version of the standard one. So there are minor differences. So they not all of them are not so unique. That is important to know, especially in the design. You can see many ships look a little bit the same, and then they really later when you how longer you play the game, how more ships you can get. Actually later you can even play some of the enemy ships, I think, and even some of the force types, what you can see here. So let's look inside, and this is a standard PlayStation 2 game back then. You have still the memory card holder, what is still a nice gimmick. Of course, the DVD is not a Blu-ray, DVD-ROM, and a nice print. This looks for me like toy ships. I don't know if that is on purpose or just a coincidence. Looks cool. And here you get, for a side-scroll shooter, a big manual with almost 50 pages. Yes, and I just want to show some small details, and then we just move on with the second part. A word of thanks. Thanks to all the R-Type fans, thanks to all the shooter fans, and thanks to you all gamers out there. Thank you for purchasing R-Type Final, for instruction, blah, 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 blah. And now, guys, please, now go back in time and look at manuals from 2004 when you bought a game from Ubisoft or something. Did you ever got thanked by the developer or the publisher? Never, actually never. And this is really nice, because they approached me personally. And I know they don't mention my name, but I love this, you know. I really love this. And I like when they put some personal words even in the menu, in the back, for example, you know, a special message for the people who bought this game, you know. You don't have this, for example, now with modern games at all, especially if everything is just digital, you know. This is a personal, nice touch, I must say. And here, this is funny, this is the storyline of the game. And because there is not so much story, yeah, the Baidu Empire is coming back, and of course you must destroy it finally, because, and this is quite funny here at the end, I want to tell, here in 1987 everything started with the original R-Type. Then, of course, in all these R-Type games, the Baidu Empire is every time the main enemy. And every time they claim this is the final battle, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and over 20 years later, you're still fighting the Baidu Empire. Yeah, so... And that's then, the story is not so much, I must say. So they waste a lot of pages here, I must admit. Yeah. Then, of course, an explanation of the game content. Oops, sorry. Yeah, and then, of course, how you get started. Here is the standard button configuration. That is quite, of course, you can change it later in the game. That is always helpful. And then, of course, you must create a save game. And with the save game, you get all your... I mean, it's really important because you collect a lot of ships. And when this got deleted, you lose everything. It's like with Pokemon, really. And I must admit, I think I played something like 120 hours just because I wanted to collect all these games, and I just got 60 or something, you know. And of course, now on the internet, you can read all the requirements, what you need to do. This is way easier now. But back then in 2004, I didn't have the internet, you know, so it was really hard to know what do I need to do to get a certain ship or something. Yeah, here you have the rules. How the force works and stuff like that. Yeah, the pause menu. And then here the weapons and power-ups, of course. Here you have your force, or the power-up system, sorry. And you have 3 major weapons, of course, with missiles and bits you can add. And unfortunately, and I don't know if you guys can see that is a really clear, good screenshot of the game. And this one is really pixelated. Looks low resolution. And this is the force. I don't know why it is so pixelated here. And then you have an awesome screenshot again, you know. I don't get it. This is the hangar. In the hangar you can configure your ships with a color. And first, let's say if you unlock a ship, you unlock them in the, what's it called? The museum. And then you can add it in the hangar. 8 ships, yes, not 5, 8 ships. So, yeah, and then you have the hangar controls, blah, 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 blah. Actually, it's not so complicated when you open the menu and see that stuff. And so it's funny that they take so much time here to explain that. But this is nice. That was the standard of 2004. I mean, now in 2025, we don't have even a freaking menu. Yes, so... let's move on. Where can I see? Here's the score attack mode. Of course, you have the standard arcade mode. Yeah, and here the R museum, that is where you collect all your ships, where you can all see them. And the R museum looks like that. And this is quite funny. You can see here, I hope you guys can see that. The R9 is just a standard version of something, and then you have some more variety. And then you have some kind of tech tree with different ships, you know, what is based on the R9, for example. Yes. And here the War Chronicles, and quite funny, the screenshots are Japanese. So interesting. You have a gallery mode, of course, with some rendering, what was back then state of the art. And here is a tutorial. Of course, the game has a tutorial, what tells you the mechanics. That is nice also. And here are the fighter instructions. And I don't know if you guys can see this also. The rendering is not really good quality. I can see all the edges here, a lot of pixel. So pixelization, would say like that. And here are some some different kind of ships. Okay, here's on the Arrowhead is one of the most popular one. This is the one what you have, I think, in R-Type Delta. And I think in R-Type 3, I'm not sure. Yeah, so then you have the R9A2 Delta. This is an enhanced version of the standard R9A. So, and then you have the R9D shooting star. They just show some of the ships, not all of them. Here, this scan is really, really bad. These are rendering images, and this is straight from the game. You know, you can really see they cut this out with Photoshop or something. Here, this is a good example of funny names. For example, the R9E is Midnight Eye. It has this huge radar thing on top. It's a really lousy ship. And then you have the R9ER2, Unchanged Silence. What the fuck? That's a strange name for a ship. Here, for example, the RX-10 Albatross. Albatross sounds really, I think it's a bird. That sounds awesome, not Unchanged Silence. Hello, what is wrong with you guys, you know? So here, for example, is the OF1 Daedalus. It's awesome name also. Yes, and here, for example, the R9W Wise Man. What the fuck? Or here, for example, Frogman. I mean, he looks a little bit like a frog because of his legs, you know. So, but you have even more ships. They just show some types of ships. And here are the enemy introductions, some of the enemies, what you can see, and even the end bosses. So, for example, you see later a giant warship. And here we have the Cancer D. There's a huge mutation. I think that was the main enemy at level 1, I think. Yes. And here you have a low resolution scan of the stage map. You know, I must admit, the attention to detail is a little bit lousy with this menu. You can see the pixelization everywhere. Looks like a bad scan image. Whoa. Yeah, and here are the stage introduction. And the funny thing is, you have some variety, and this is quite interesting. If you do some certain stuff in stage 1.0, sorry, then you can move to stage 2.3 or something, you know. So yeah, you have different requirements. For example, here is stage 3.0, and then there's stage 3.5, stage 4 point things, and I think stage 5 is the last one. Yes. And then, of course, you have some credits here, and this is quite interesting. If you're interested in the full list of all the R-Type games, you have here a full list of that. The arcade version, then R-Type 1 on the TurboGrafx 16 came actually on this small little card. The complete game was not included, so they had to split this. Yes, so you had R-Type 1 and 2, but it's actually just the first game. Then here's the MSX version, and here then, for example, 1991, R-Type for the Game Boy came out, and in 1991 even Super R-Type for the Super Nintendo, what is based on R-Type 2. So this is nice it's nice if you don't know this stuff. Yeah, so not a bad menu actually. They take a lot of space, you know, to explain a lot of stuff. Some images are really, really rough. Yeah, but this was really a high point for me, you know, and I was, yeah, actually with a smile and a tear in my eye, I was playing this game really, and had a lot of fun for over 100 hours. Yeah. And now let's look at R-Type Final 2. When this got announced, I was like really crazy. R-Type Final 2 will come out, you know. I was not expecting this at all. And these are actually former employees from IRAM. They put a team together to make this version actually. And it's completely new game. And I understand that because the name is Final, so that means the last game, but they stretched this with Final 2 and Final 3. Yes, so this one, and wait, this is important, the makers, the developer, they call Granzella. You know, they are former employees from IRAM, you know, who really love the genre, and with the, I think they even bought the rights of R-Type, and then they released it on their own. Yes, right. And here it got published by NES America. Yeah, this game came out. This game came later out. Actually, it came out in April 2021. Yes, right. And you guys can imagine they even said there will be a retail version, and you guys knew that I will buy this freaking retail version. Yes, and this is the inaugural Flight Edition. Yes, and back then it was a full price. If you want this sealed now, it costs something like 50 euro. Then you get this awesome little box, you know. And if you want to use it in a used condition, it costs almost the same. That is quite funny. So if you can choose between a used one and a new one, just buy the new one, you know, because then you don't have scratches already or something, you know. Yeah. So. And I bought this, yes, I bought this in Germany back then. The legendary side-scroll shooter series comes back for the first time. The classic shoot-'em-up gameplay in 3D. It's not true, actually. R-Type Delta and, of course, Final was already 3D also. Yeah. And what do you get? You get an R-Type Final official soundtrack, the artwork of R-Type, then a Final 2 bag and a collector's box. Yes, and we will look at that now. By the way, this is the front. I must admit what I don't like. I like the design, the cover, but I don't like the font, you know, because this looks awesome. This is the standard type font of R-Type, and they didn't use it here. This is so random, I think. And then unfortunately, with the third game, it's more random, you know. So it even looks more worse, especially than with this color scheme, you know. So yeah. But this is because I'm a graphic designer, you know, and desktop publisher. So I have an eye for design and letter type and stuff like that, you know. Yeah. Wait. So the site looks like this. And this is, of course, the back. I showed this already. And now let's open up and get everything out. Yes, this is everything. This is just a standard paper box. It's not so steady. You guys can see that. It's, yeah. You have some enhancements here in the middle to make it more stable because it's so thin paper here, you know, and that's a little shame, I would say. So if you just leave that and put something heavy on it, you know, like, no, not the game, but let's say the mouse, for example, bloom, you know, then it already makes this kind of thing. I don't know the English word, sorry, but I hope you guys know what I mean. Yeah. Then we have the standard game, and it looks like this. And the back is actually the same way. Is the different screenshots? No, it's a little bit bigger in this case because now here are the image of the special edition. Let's call it like that. Yeah. And then you have the game, and already the first complaint is because this is an inaugural light edition, something like a special edition, you know, what's up with this here? What the fuck, you know? I mean, you have the possibility for an alternative cover or just an awesome background image. And what do you get? This health information and a white background. Boo-hoo. Yes. The print here is okay, looks promising. Yeah, let's continue. And of course, no manual, unfortunately. Then, next thing. The official soundtrack of R-Type 2, R-Type Final 2, sorry. Sorry. And you get the soundtrack on an actually music CD. Woohoo, this is good. This is awesome. I love that. The paper sleeve is standard and it fits with the presentation. A standard jewel case in plastic format. It would be too big and it would to be bulky, you know. So this is okay. Here's the track list. This was back then, without the updates, a complete track list. Yeah, this is not a soundtrack, but you can listen outside of the game because it's very atmospheric. It's very strange. It's very biologic, I would say. You know, it fits perfect with the series, but just to listen it on your own is. But it's nice always that you have stuff like that. I mean, some melodies are really cool, but some songs are just ambient, just strange. Space sound, something like that. I hope you guys know what I mean. And I mean, if you're a fan for that, then of course just listen that, you know. For example, the soundtrack of Silent Hill is very atmospheric. It fits the gameplay, but outside of the game, I would not listen this soundtrack, you know, because it's not so. There's no what is the word? no harmony in it. Yes. So, but what you get, and I love that, you get an artwork with some behind the scenes stuff. And this book, I call it now booklet because it's a little bit bigger. Oh no, it's actually the size of a normal manual. What I like is the paper quality. The paper is quite thick here. The inner pages, the outer pages not. Here it's very thin paper. Here also, but the rest thicker paper, you know, with a coating. And this is nice, yeah. And let's look a little bit. And I love this already. Besides, I don't like the font. I hope you guys know what I mean. So, and here is and behind the scenes about why they created R-Type Final 2, you know, and then you can read this. This is one of the producers from Grand Cellar, yes. And it's nice, you know, that he gives this background information. And then, of course, you have some artwork, some rendering, you know. And this is, no, this is actually a different image. I thought this is this one, but no, this is different. Yes. Looks similar, I think. Yeah. These are actually screenshots of the game. The game, I think, looks gorgeous. It uses the Unreal Engine 4, I believe. Sometimes in some enemy types look a little bit like plastic. This is a little bit a strange look, I think. But I like the whole atmosphere of the presentation. So I'm a fan of that, yes. And this is your pilot. Actually, you never see him without a helmet. And that's not important because the highlight of the game, of course, are all these ships, you know. And of course, you can collect a lot of them, you know. This is a rendering also, and this also. Yes. And here you have some artwork now from the environment. This is one of the main enemies, I think from level 3 or something. Yes. Check this out. It's a whole army, you know, of R-Type. of R9s. So cool. I love that. Yes, and this is one of the enemies I remember in the last level. Yeah. This is one of these ships what you can discover. Looks a little bit funny. Looks like a Yule drill or some drill machine or something. Yes. If you want to read the text, of course, you can pause this video. Yeah, and this is it. I love that. I love that that interview actually. That you know a lot of stuff. I mean, behind the scene, you know, why they wanted to continue, and you get some lovely artwork. Yes. But yeah, like I said, it's a shame that they don't include a manual, you know, and that the presentation of the game itself is, yeah. But basically, it's a little bit, the structure is the same like the original R-Type Final, that you have, oh, sorry, that you start in the beginning with some basic ships, and when you achieve some certain stuff, you can add new ships, you can upgrade them, you know, and you get, of course, special forces and stuff like that. Yeah. This game is compared. Wait 1 second. He doesn't want to close now. I don't want to. What the? Wait. I don't want to break anything. So 1 second. Get in. Stupid idiot. Yes. So the difficulty compared with the first one, this one is easier. For me, actually, yes. I started already in a normal mode, and I finished the game quite easy, let's say it like that. Here I had to start, because the normal mode was too hard for me in the beginning, so I had to start with the easy mode. So, yes. And now let's move to the final game of this video, and that is, oh wait, I still need these two. And that is R-Type Final 3 Evolved. And the reason why they call it like that is this is basically more an updated version of R-Type Final 2. Yes, they added, wait a second, I don't want to say, nonsense. They updated actually the game, they enhanced the graphics, they changed a little bit of the balancing, they tweaked a little bit on the graphical performance and the Unreal Engine. Yeah, so this is not really a completely new game. This is R-Type Final 2.5, let's say it like that. And that was a small setback, I must say. Especially a lot of content you can buy as in DLC. So yes, you get some new levels, but for example, later with DLCs, they included older stages from older games, what you can play here also completely with in a new look. And I would love to have this already in the final version, you know, not to have it later as a DLC. Or they would really, it would be nice if they would release a gold version, let's call it like that, you know, what included everything. Wait, let me get my notes because I don't want to tell any bullshit here. Yeah, but before, not beside, sorry, I forgot to tell you guys also with R-Type Final 2, they use the Unreal Engine 4. Here they use the Unreal Engine 5. So the game looks a little bit better. That's important to know. Yeah, this one came out in April 2023, and the deluxe edition had was a price of €60. And yeah, if you want it brand new, €60 you must pay. If you want it used, you can get it already for 40. And I don't know if there is the content included in this case. The deluxe edition is actually the only edition what I saw in the store. There's even not a standard edition. Maybe I'm wrong in this case, but I never saw a standard version. So this is more or less the standard version. And there was even a special edition. I believe, yes, this special edition included content from the deluxe edition, and there was a 2-disc Starfighter soundtrack and a keychain light with an R9A arrowhead image. Yeah, I never saw this in the wild actually, so I'm already happy with the deluxe edition. Yeah, so what do we get? The legendary side-scrolling shoot-'em-up series makes its way onto PlayStation 5. Updated in Unreal Engine 5, this version included Stage Pass 1 and 7 PS5 exclusive stages. Yeah, that is nice. That is cool. But I felt a little bit ripped off when they later released special DLCs, you know, with new content, you know. So, because I'm not a fan of DLCs, I want the whole experience. Please, just in one game, put everything together on a disc and give it to me, you know. I'm so easygoing in this case, you know, and I don't want to buy the standard game and then here a package, there a package, and there a package. I don't like that. It's waste of time, waste of money. I want just everything, the whole experience at one, you know. That is, this is me. Okay. But sorry, now we look at the deluxe edition. So this is, like I said, the deluxe edition. This is the art of the of R-Type Final 3. It's a little bit boring compared with this one. You know, this looks more like action. I mean, it's nice, but it's a little bit boring. And the font type is wow. And the color scheme, I don't know. Especially here with Evolve, that you have these edges here. I don't know. It's not really my thing. Yeah, it got published again by NIS. And here they tell you even what you get with this version. You get in one disc this original soundtrack and a softcover art book. Yeah, so, and when you open it, it looks like this. They changed a little bit the design because it's almost the same stuff what you have already included in R-Type Final 2 in the inaugural Flight Edition. You get the art book, we soon look at that, and then you get the soundtrack, that is here the soundtrack now with more songs compared with R-Type Final 2. Then you have this here. and then the original game on Ultra HD Blu-ray. Yeah, so, and like I said, because this is an updated version of the soundtrack from the second part, it's nice, it really fits to the whole atmosphere, but outside of the game, it's not really a thing. I would, for example, never listen to this in my car when I'm driving or something. But, and this is important to tell you guys, they learned a little bit, because with the second part, we just had a white background. Now we have a planet here in the background with some space, a space theme, and here is the same image like in front. So this is already an upgrade. I like that. So no complaints about that. But again, no manual. Oh, wait, let me get this in at all. No manual. And then we have the art book. And this is almost the same art book like what I showed with R-Type Final 2, with some new images, what we soon see. But what you notice immediately, especially when you have the art book of the second part in your hands, the paper quality is now really like a manual. It's really, really thin, you know, and all the pages are thin, and it feels cheaper like the art book of R-Type Final 2. Yeah. And here is the same interview, the same behind the scenes stuff. Yeah, and some of the images already you recognize. So, of course, if you don't have R-Type Final 2, then of course this is nice. You get more content and better graphics, stuff like that. But if you had already the second part, it's a small letdown, let's say like that. Yeah, and it's basically the same game with the same artwork. Yeah. That's it. It's yeah. Here some new. These are some new artworks. Yeah, looks nice. Some rendering. This looks so cool here. So awesome. This is a little bit strange that you sit on the moon, you know, you put your flags on it, and next to it is an R-Type machine, you know, so a little bit strange. Yeah, but this is more or less the art book, and yeah, it's okay, but the art book in R-Type Final 2 is way better, better. So this is, unfortunately, if we talk about the physical content, a small letdown, let's say it like that, because no menu, it's the same art book, yeah. But what you have is, of course, a nice background image, and the soundtrack is enhanced, that is nice. But I thought with R-Type Final 3 we get a completely new game, you know. Let's say what uses R-Type Final as a fundament and then builds up. But this is really just an update of this game, you know. So a lot of fans, what I saw on the internet, got really disappointed with this one, especially the upgrade from the Unreal Engine 4 on 5, because now it looks a little bit more like plastic, you know. And here you had sometimes this feeling that some enemies have this plastic look feel. Here is this even more. But yeah, but I love the game, and the new stages are good, you know, adds to the whole experience. So it gets a recommendation, you know, and I'm of course still happy that I can buy retail games from R-Type. So, and I am hoping that there will be maybe an R-Type Final 4, or maybe really a brand new game, you know, what is not final, let's call it like that. Yes, but if you are a fan of side-scroll shooters, you can do nothing wrong. This series is really, really awesome. Yeah, and it's not so expensive. So, and that's the end of this video. If you guys like my content, give me a thumbs up or subscribe. See you next time, guys. And don't forget to support your local video game store. Servus.